Hiya there, fans. I'm Marty Glickman. We're out at the ballpark to talk with one of the great left-handers of the game. He was the winning pitcher in the first All-Star game. He spanned two great dynasties of New York Yankee baseball. One of the great left-handers, Lefty Gomez, the slim, trim left-hander. Lefty, it's sure nice to see you today.
Marty, it's nice being here.
Lefty, how you've grown.
Well, I should certainly say.
How much did you weigh when you were pitching?
Well, Marty, when I first joined the Yankees in 1930, I weighed 149 pounds. And, well, I'm up about 60 or 70 pounds more now. And if you remember, they used to send me to a health farm every winter to put on 15 or 20 pounds. So I'd run that off in spring training. And then, I don't know, I could never put on weight. And the first year I got out of baseball, I put on 35 pounds.
Well, it looks good on you, Lefty.
Thank you.
Say that. I mentioned at the outset that you spanned two great baseball dynasties with the Yankees, the era of Ruth and Gehrig in the early 30s and the late 20s, and then when Joe DiMaggio came along with Charlie Keller and Tommy Henry. Those must have been great years for you, Lefty.
They certainly were, Marty. I would like to compare the ball clubs in one way. Another way, you can't. I know the 30 to 34 ball club. I always thought the 32 club was the best one I was ever on, with Ruth and Gehrig and Dickey and that bunch. And then I know when I first joined the Yankees, fellows like Wade Hoyt and Joe Dugan and Musial and players like that, it was different than it is today. I remember going out and starting to warm up, and they said, you belong down the bullpen. The bushers go down there. The regulars warm up here. And then in 36, 7, and 8, and 9 through there with DiMaggio and Keller and Henrik, and, well, we still had Lou and Lazzari, but it had changed, and the players were, that is, the rookies were more like the regulars, and naturally everybody got together and talked. And today, at the present day, I think that the big change is the regular is tickled to death if the rookie says hello to him.
Well, some of the rookies are getting pretty fair bonuses these days.
That's right.
Say, Lefty, you mentioned the 1932 Yankee ball club as perhaps the greatest you ever played on. Wasn't 1932 the year the Yankees played the Chicago Cubs in the World Series, and the year that Babe Ruth was supposed to have pointed into the stands for a home run, called a shot?
Yes, Marty, that was in 1932. In fact, we were playing out in Chicago at Wrigley Field, and Babe did point and call a home run, because I remember sitting on the bench, and with 2 strikes and 2 balls, Babe pointed out, and then the next pitch he hit. I went into the bleachers, so I would definitely say, regardless of what anybody else talks about, that Babe did hit the home run after pointing.
You must have been plenty mad at those Chicago Cubs.
Well, there was a lot of ribbon going on between the 2 ball clubs, because if you remember, Mark Koenig had come back to the Cubs and was the spark plug of the team. They finally won the pennant, and Mark had a good year, and they voted him in a share of the World Series, and so that's what we were all riding the Cubs about, and naturally, it got to be a little rugged at times, but we were fortunate enough to outscore them, so we beat them.
Say, Lefty, we've been talking about the hitters you played with, the Gehrigs and Ruths, DiMaggios. How about the hitters you had to pitch against, some of the great ball players of all time, fellas like Al Simmons and Charlie Gehringer and Hank Greenberg?
Well, and let's not forget Jimmy Fox. I mean, I think I hold the record for the longest home run ever hit. Fox hit it off me in Yankee Stadium. And then Greenberg, I mean, Hank, as you know, hit 58 home runs, and I think that Hank and Fox were 2 of the great right-handed hitters of all time. And, of course, Gehringer, I thought Charlie was just about the toughest man that I ever had to pitch against. That is, to fool. Charlie would get up there and I was a fastball pitcher, and Charlie would never swing at my fastball until he got 2 strikes. I could throw 2 curves, and he'd take them for strikes, or if I happened to get him over his strikes, that is, naturally, or but he'd wait for my fastball, and then he'd naturally hit my curve if I threw it with 2 strikes.
Say, wasn't there an incident once where you stopped during the course of a ball game and a World Series game and watched a plane go by, like that one going by now?
Yes, I did, Marty.
What happened in that situation?
Well, I had a couple of men on bases, which wasn't unusual, and Mel out up there hitting, and naturally, this airplane flew by, and I stopped and started to watch the thing, and I don't know, out hit a line drive at Lazzari. We got out of the inning, but McCarthy was running up and down the bench screaming, and I got into the dugout, and he really started to go over me, if you know what I mean. And so finally he said, Gomez, you were out there not paying any attention to the ball game. He said, I could have hit a home run while your watching an airplane and all that, and I said, Mr. McCarthy, anytime a guy can hit a home run off of me before I throw the ball, you better get me out of that ball game because it's too tough for me.
Sometimes when it got too tough for you, they used to bring in a fella called Fireman Johnny Murphy.
Well, working with Murph, I don't know, Marty. He certainly was my right arm. And I mean, I believe if Murph would still be pitching today, I might have a chance to make a comeback. And I do know that out of 1 year there, I won 15 and lost 5, and I believe Murph saved about 10 of the 15 for me.
I think, Lefty, you tend to belittle yourself, and perhaps your anecdotes connected with baseball overshadow the fact upon occasion that you were a 20-game winner on 4 occasions in American League competition, that you were the winning pitcher in the first All-Star game, and you pitched in so many World Series ball games. How'd you like to take a look at that 1937 World Series?
Oh, I certainly would.
Well, let's do that right now. It's the Yankee Stadium, and the fans are pouring through the turnstiles to see baseball history in the making. Once again, it's a Subway Series. The big town is alive with excitement. It's the first game of the 1937 World Series between the New York Yankees and the New York Giants. We'll see those two great clubs battling out in just a moment, but first, let's pause for this important message. There's Colonel Jake Rupert and manager Joe McCarthy, Lou Gehrig, and Joe DiMaggio, and Babe Ruth, the former king of SWAT, with his wife and daughter. And that's Clark Griffith, the former star pitcher and now president of the Washington Nationals, who managed the Yankees in 1903 when they were known as the New York Highlanders. There's Alva Bradley, owner of the Cleveland Indians. He's present to watch the conflict. And Eddie Collins, one of the greatest second basemen that the American League has ever known. He watches the proceedings. Mrs. Tom Yorkey, wife of the president and owner of the Boston Red Sox, is another ardent rooter for the American League. And there's the big train, Walter Johnson, who won as many as 36 games in a season, and he's still mighty popular with the fans. And Colonel Rupert, the president, and Edward G. Barrow, secretary of the Yankees, are all set to watch their club go into action. Joe DiMaggio stops for the usual autographs. There's one signature that will long be treasured. Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis, commissioner of baseball, has a word with Lazzeri and Crissetti. The world champions are eager to take the field in the defense of their title against their city rivals from across the river, the New York Giants. Manager Joe McCarthy and coach Art Fletcher appear in a jovial mood just before the cry of batters up is heard. The Yankees take their final warm-up. Carl Hubbell and Lefty Gomez, the opposing pitchers, have posed for the last photographer, and now it's just about time to play ball. In the first inning, on the first pitch by Gomez, Moore slams a hot grounder down to Gehrig, and the World Series is underway. Now it's the big 6th inning. The Giants lead 1-0 after Gomez is walked. Crissetti singles sharply to left. Gomez pulling up at second. Ralph bangs a single to the left that advances Gomez to third. And with the bases filled and no outs, DiMaggio lines safely in the left center, scoring Gomez and Crissetti and putting the Yankees out in front 2-1. Now Gehrig is purposely passed, filling the bases, and Dickey bounces a single off Wagner's glove, scoring Rolfe from third. After Hogue forces DiMaggio at the plate, Selkirk singles to right, scoring both Gehrig and Dickey. And before the inning was over, the Giants had used 3 pitchers, Hubbell, Gubbert, and Kaufman. 13 Yankees went to bat during the inning, and 7 runs were scored. The final score in the first game, Yankees 8, and the Giants 1. The Yankees captured the second game of the World Series by the same score of 8-1. In the second inning of the third game, played at the Polo Grounds, with Selkirk on, Lazzeri singles to center field, scoring Selkirk with the first run of the game. Now Crissetti hits to Mel out at third, whose throw home retires Hogue. In the third inning, DiMaggio is out on a 450-foot wallop to Chiozza in center field. Gehrig sets off the fireworks for the Yankees when he lines a hit off the right field wall, and when Ripple attempts to pick him off first, he rounds the bag. Lou slides safely in a second. Dickey wounds a tremendous triple on the left, scoring Gehrig. The final score of this game, Yankees 5, Giants 1, giving the Yankees 3 straight, with 1 more victory needed to clinch the title of world champions again. The Giants came to life in the fourth game of the World Series after leadoff man McCarthy had singled. Danning followed with a safe hit to right field, scoring Lieber. Hubble hit to Lazzeri, whose throw to the plate was late, and McCarthy scores. Moore smashes a single to center field, scoring Whitehead with run number 3. Salkeld then singles to center, scoring Hubble. Ripple walks, filling the bases, and when Lieber attempts to stop a swing, the ball hits his bat for a short single on the left center field, scoring Moore and Bartell. The final score of the fourth game, the Giants 7, the Yankees 3. In what proved to be the final game of the series, DiMaggio made the score 2-0 in favor of the Yankees when he smashed a terrific home run on top of the upper deck in left field. And here's DiMaggio scoring. But there was still fight left in the Giants in their half of the third. After Bartell had singled to left, Mellott had well up the home run high into the upper deck in right field, tying up the old ball game at 2 runs apiece. Then the Yankees came back strong in the first half of the fifth, and Gomez was hitting as well as pitching. He singled through the box, putting the Yankees ahead 3-2. Red Ralph then is walking, and DiMaggio pops to Danning in front of the plate. But Gehrig kept the rally going when he doubles to left center, scoring Gomez. There was no more scoring in the game when Moore was out to Gomez, who covered first in the ninth inning. The game ended with a score of 4-2, and the Yankees were again champions of the world, winning 4 out of the 5 games. With the Yankees proving their right to the title, another great season came to a close, with Lefty Gomez winner of 2 more World Series games. Say, Lefty, did you get a kick out of watching those highlights of the 1937 series, some of those old-timers?
I certainly did, Marty.
Bill Terry, Mellott, Carl Hubble.
It brings back a lot of memories.
And very fond memories for you, too. You had a couple of good base hits in that series, didn't you?
Oh, yes, Marty. I'm glad you brought that up. I remember driving in the winning run in the 4-2 game against the Giants, the last game of the series, which was the 5th game that year. You know, I used to love my base hits because I didn't get too many of them.
Well, Lefty, we certainly look forward to seeing another Gomez in Major League Baseball in the near future, one of your family, and perhaps wearing a New York Yankee uniform as well. Good luck. It's been wonderful talking to you, Lefty.
Thank you, Marty.
Lefty Gomez, one of baseball's all-time greats. Well, folks, until we meet again, with more baseball thrillers and the men who make them, this is Marty Glickman saying so long.